Good morning, everybody. Happy Sabbath day. I hope everybody's into the Word, to the Ten Commandments, because we have to follow the commandments. If you're not in the covenant with the Father, urge you seriously to get into it. But first off, if you're seeing this video, go ahead and go up there into that little button right over here, that little bell, and subscribe, so we can all join in together in searching out the truths of the Father Yahuwah and His Son Yahusha. But we're going to start off today. We're going in a little different direction today. We're going to do the origins of the pagan trinity and see, so we can walk you through, and just in some spots in the Bible where it's at, like some things that you may have had a problem with that you didn't understand. Like there's some things that I didn't understand until you actually start getting into it and start digging and showing thyself approved, like he says. You know, we have to do these things. But I'm going to read right now. If you want to, turn to your Bibles in Jeremiah chapter 44, excuse me. We're going to do verses 17 through 19 right quick. I'm going to read them real quick. It says, "But we will certainly do whatever things goes forth out of our own mouth to burn incense to the Queen of the heavens, and to pour out drink offerings to her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our leaders in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food and were well and saw no evil. But since we stopped burning incense to the Queen of the heavens and to pour out drink offerings to her, we have lacked all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of heavens and poured out drink offerings to her, did we make cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings to her without our husbands?" Who's the Queen of heavens?
Samarias.
No, I'm asking the questions to the folks watching. Who is? It's Samaramis.
Yeah.
She was considered the Queen of Heaven, but she takes on other names too. It's morphed throughout time, throughout history. So we're going to do the origin of this, the pagan trinity. You know, everybody says, "Oh, we have a triune Godhead." No, we don't. We don't. I'm going to give you the verses that you can go and look them up yourselves, guys. You know, we've been lied to so much our entire church life. You know, it's a shame that these pastors that are teaching. I'm not saying all pastors are bad by no means, but if they're doing Trinity worship, then that's pagan. They're liars, and the truth ain't in them. And if that hurts your feelings, you know, I'm not here. I'm not the word police. I don't care if your feelings get hurt. I do it. Yeah.
Give them candy.
I love you guys. That's why I want to tell you these things. You know, I can't imagine if Isaiah or Jeremiah was here, or Enoch, or even Elijah. You think they're the kind of guys that they'll rip the Band-Aid straight off. They won't take, "Oh, let me get it." No, these guys they will hurt your feelings. I just know they will, because these guys, they were serious and they believed, and they would tell you, look, they're telling his own people right now, look, y'all did this, and now that you stopped doing it, you think that you've lost everything? No, the Lord's took this away from you. The Queen of Heaven. We're going to get into the history of it. There's a book you guys can buy. It's called Mystery Babylon. I urge you guys to get this book. It's an eye opener, and it goes right along with Scripture.
Right here.
That's the beautiful thing about it. Now let's tell the origins. It all goes back to Nimrod. Nimrod, it means tyrant. The name Nimrod means tyrant, and he did not love God at all. Matter of fact, he was against God. He wanted to build a temple to get to the God, not just to meet him and talk with him, but to take over heaven. That's what he wanted. And he married his mother, Samaramis. He married her. You know, well, Nimrod, if you're into the Word and you want to find the truth and dig for the truth outside of the scope of the Holy Bible, you know, there's a lot of Bibles that books that were taken out. And guess what? The important ones that we need have been taken out. Like Nimrod was a mighty hunter, and it means he wanted. That's over there in Genesis. He wanted to be He loved to hunt men, though. It wasn't just he would hunt men to sacrifice them to Moloch and other places, and then they would have we have what you would call the vernal equinox during they call we the pagans call it Easter now, but it was called back then. It was called the sun god day, and they would not. I'm sorry, sun god day was in December. The solstice, the winter solstice, where they would take slave girls, they would impregnate them, and then that by the time they gave birth, it would be the vernal equinox during the first year for fertility. Ishtar, the Easter, the goddess, that was Semiramis. She changed her name. Excuse me, but she was called the Queen of Heaven, but how did she get there? That's what we're trying to figure out. How did she get there? And we just read it in Jeremiah over here. She got there because guess what? If you've ever read the book of Jasher or Jubilees, he was killed. Nimrod got killed, but guess who killed him? Esau. He was a mighty hunter too, and I guess he was better. He killed a supposed self-proclaimed god. Well, Semiramis tried to keep her power. So what she do? She come up with the concocted idea. She got pregnant again, and it had Tammuz. So now you have a proclaimed that the sun became Nimrod became the sun god. That's how you got sun god day. They worship on Sunday. That all changed in 321 AD under Constantine. But we're still going back to train up a little bit. Well, Tammuz has she claims that he was from the sun god Nimrod. So you have the father mother, which was you had the wife mother, the son father. I mean, this is how they did with. So, and she became called the mother of heaven. Is what they started calling her. So Tammuz was supposed to be him incarnate, the Father incarnated, immaculate, and that's all in here. You can read it. That's where the Trinity got, and it just more from Semiramis and Tammuz to Ishtar and I can't remember the other name for Ishtar, but their son, and then to Mary Christ. That it's all the same people. You can see the statues of the mother holding the child. This goes up, and the Catholics kept it. And Constantine put everything. He took everything, and that's how you got the solstice. I'm just giving you a brief synopsis of this.
Madonna.
Yeah, there you go, the Madonna. That's the word I was trying to find. And so that's where the Trinity, the head, came from. The Father, the Son, and the Mother of Heaven. But the Mother of Heaven became it kind of faded out with the Catholics. They kind of repackaged it, dusted off the box, put it in a new one, gave it a different. So it became the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
She was called Isis.
And see, Isis is the Egyptian word for it. There's so many different names but it's all the same. It all goes back to the Mystery Babylon Godhead of Nimrod. And the Christmas tree, y'all have to look up what the Christmas tree. I really don't want to say what it was, but it was. And you got the obelisk. They got it standing up in the Vatican Square, and we got it in Washington D.C. Every church steeple has an obelisk sitting on top of a steeple. Yes. It's all rooted in paganism, guys. Mm-hmm. It's all rooted in Illuminati, and as hard as that is to hear, I trust me, I'm with you guys. I had a hard time with this, but you know what? It's when you seek out the truth. That's why he says to worship in truth and in spirit. In spirit and in truth. How can you worship the Father if you're following along with a once saved, always saved idea? How can you follow and worship the Spirit in truth when you're thinking that you're going to be magically took out to a spaceship waiting for you, or called up to heaven and not have to go through none of these problems? How can you worship in truth and spirit when you go to church on a Sunday, on the sun God day where it just came from over there in Mystery Babylon? How can you do these things, guys? How can you constantly, continually use the name of the Father in vain? That's the second commandment. Don't use my name. Jeremiah tells us his name has been given over to that which is Baal. So what name is used worldwide and accepted that you blaspheme his name Lord daily? Jesus. You use the name Lord. You call him Lord. That's a 4-letter word for Baal. Jeremiah 23, verse 27 tells you that your forefathers will have forgotten his name and given it over to that which is Baal. The world calls him one name right now. The world. So if you're part of it, they're calling him the name that he's not named. You cannot get salvation out of the name Jesus. I'm just telling you. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just telling you the truth, guys. I love you that much. But we're going to go. I want you guys to find out Jeremiah 44, verses 17, 18, and 19. You'll find out about the Queen of Heaven, Semiramis. That's what they're talking about. They were worshiping this in the Israeli camp, the Hebrew camp. Father Yahuwah puts a stop to it. They get scattered to the whole tribes. This is the history of it. Why did northern Israel get booted out? The kingdom, you got 10 tribes. The northern Israel, you got the southern tribes of Benjamin and Judah. That's how you got 2 kingdoms. They separated. Well, the northern 10 tribes got booted from all corners of the earth for what? They did something. You can find that over there in Kings. They brought in an Asherah pole. They adopted the way of Tammuz, all these Nimrods. They did that, and that tree is called an Asherah pole. They planted a grove of trees by the temple. God didn't like that. They put a tree in the temple. They decorated it with silver and gold, just like Jeremiah chapter 10 tells us not to do. They did abominable things, and they're worshiping, sacrificing their children in the valley of Hinnom to Molech. The first, it's disgusting that people don't understand this. They won't read, and to show thyself approved, they want to take Pastor Timmy over here at the First Baptist, the Frozen Chosen, and they want to listen to that. Some man that don't know what he's talking about. You guys can say all you want to about me. I'm looking for the truth. And he said, if you search for the truth, you shall find it. And it will set you free. And then you can worship in spirit and in truth once you know it. But if you'll go over to and define, keep on about the Trinity, the Godhead, I want you to read. So one of y'all go to Deuteronomy 6, 4, and 8. One of y'all go to Mark 12, 29, and one of y'all go to John 17 and 3.
I'll go to 17 and 3.
12 and 29, and then you go. We're going to read these out. So I want you go ahead, if you're out there listening, Mark Deuteronomy 6, verses 4 through 8. And then go,
What's the verses for Mark?
Mark is 12, 29. Okay. And then y'all mark John 17, verse 3. And then we'll go from there. Just so we can drive this home so you'll understand about the Trinity, that it's not real. It's all comes from Mystery Babylon back in the day. Mystery Babylon back in those days, guys, it's like going to New York City for us. Let's go to the big city. They got everything you want there. That's what Babylon was. Well, now Mystery Babylon's the same way. It's still here. Everybody wants to come to this country. This country's called a melting pot. You got all nations coming to this country. It's Babylon. Why? Babylon pushes out all the smut, all the garbage to all 4 corners of the world. It's the fault of Mystery Babylon why there's 40 to 60,000 denominations. It's the reason why there's so much pornography in this country. It's all garbage. And you can call yourselves godly? It's disgusting. You're going to sex traffic children and women. It's disgusting. And then drugs, pushing it to all these people, all the heroin in Afghanistan alone. All the coke coming up out of it's disgusting. And you want to come here for the American dream, the light, man, it's garbage. And it's going down the toilet fast. And I hate to sound like that, guys, but I love Yahuwah, and I'm not worried about it. I'm happy as I can be because I'm in his will. I follow his commandments. It's imperative that you get into covenant, guys. And it don't matter what's going on around us. I'm surrounded with family and friends that I love, and I'd do anything in the world for. Everybody sitting at this table, I would do anything in the world for them. Anybody at my job, I would do anything. I'm not worried about what's coming down. Iran's getting lit up by Israel right now. They done lit up Lebanon. Guys, if you're not in covenant, get in covenant with him. Get in these commandments. Get off of these sun god day stuff. Quit doing these pagan traditions, Christmas, Easter, New Year's. It's all pagan idolatry. Get all the crosses out of your house. Put up the 10 Commandments on the post of your doors like you're supposed to. But I ran. We're going to go over here to Deuteronomy. Go ahead and read loud and proud, guys, so we can hear you.
Okay. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our Elohim, is one. And
He's what?
Is one.
Is one? Is he got a second one? Is there somebody else
And
there?
not a third.
One. Just
Yeah.
one. Okay, I got it.
And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind.
Wow. Who said that when they come? Didn't the disciples come to Yahusha and ask him and say, "What's the greatest of the commandments?" Did that happen?
Yes.
Or am I just dreaming that?
No,
I think it happened.
It happened. And what did they ask him again, Taylor? What did he say to him?
He said to love the Father with all your heart
And?
all your soul and all your mind.
Wow. So the Messiah was using old scripture. He was using the Old Testament. Really?
Yes.
Can you believe the Old Testament's already been done, hasn't it? Everything in the Old
He
Testament.
just refreshed what was already said.
See, guys, the Old Testament is the New Testament is just a refreshing of the Old. But anyway,
It is
all right, you heard that. There's one God, not three. One. We're going to back it up. We're going to go to the New Testament with Mr. Dallas, and he's going to read you Mark 29 Mark 12
Verse
29, and do it loud so we can hear.
All right, Mark 12:29. Yahusha answered, "The first and most important one is, Hear, O Israel, the Elohim or Yahuwah is one Elohim."
He's one. What was that? How many?
Just one.
Just one?
Just one.
Are you sure they didn't say second or third or?
I'm positive.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you. He says one. He's one. Okay. Well, people's going to hear. You're going to hear this. Well, he's part. They're all. They're all together. They're all three. They're the same. No, listen to me. They are one in each other, just like we're one in Him. That means if we're in Him, He's in us. That's what it means. It's not just He is. They were together all the time since the creation. But God is still. He's not going to. He's still over them. He's not giving His power or His glory to nothing, no one else. It's His, not Messiah's. Messiah did what He came here to do. He died for us. That precious blood that He shed for us. Thank you so much. I love Him, and that's not to take Him in any ways any lighter than. See, the church has elevated Him above the Father, and you can't do that. That's what He's telling you. You can't do that. Now we're going to go over to the last verse. What is it?
John 17:3.
These are just 3 verses, guys. There's a lot more because I looked them up. There's a lot more than this. All right, go ahead and read that one.
And this is eternal life, that they might know you, the only truth, Aloha, and Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah, whom you have sent.
And you have sent. He sent. Who sent him? The Father sent him down here. And they said, well, what about if you see me, you seen the Father? Well, you have, but you'll never see the Father with your own eyes until you're there.
Right.
Because you can't look upon Him with fleshly eyes. It's like when Moses asked to see Him. He put him in the cleft of a mountain. He'd only seen the backside of him, and he put his hand over him until he walked by. And then he saw the backside of him, and it turned Moses' hair white, his beard, and he had to put a veil on his face for the glory that was on him. And you know what? The Word says He never said that He took it off. It never said He took it off. The Shekinah glory fell all over Moses when he looked at his backside. So that's powerful stuff.
You can only see him walking by.
But now, everything morphed into. You can follow that. I just gave you a brief synopsis, guys, of the history of it. I can sit here for hours and tell you the whole thing, but it's up to y'all.
You can call him any name, and he knows who you're
Yeah,
talking to,
yeah,
right?
yeah. He knows who you're talking to. He's, you know, it's gonna
He
be,
knows
it's gonna
exactly
be a
who you're
bad
talking
day.
to, and it ain't him.
Look, I guys, I love Yahusha, and I want to do what I love Yahuwah.
Yes.
I love Him. I want to
Ruach
worship in
HaKodesh.
truth and in flesh or spirit.
Spirit.
Truth and in spirit, yes. Because if you don't, if you're not in truth with Him, if you're believing that it's okay to do Christmas and not the Ten Commandments and Easter, and you take part of all these Ishtar, Easter. That's where ham. They do ham. They put a ham on the thing. They sacrifice pigs because that's what they did with Ishtar, Easter. And then it's bunny and fertile, and they also did things with the egg. All you gotta do is go look it up. Mm-hmm. Don't take my word for it. I'll tell you that all the time. Don't take my word for it. Go do it. Go look it up. Study. And if you come up with
Don't
anything,
take what the wolf in sheep clothing is telling you. Go look it up.
there's going to be so many people that come undone at the seams, and because of they believe that they're going to be transported out of here. It's not going to
To
happen.
a far, far away galaxy.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen. Look, there is going to be a catching up. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but it's not going to be who you think it is. It's only the 144, the elect. How do you become elect? I mean, think about this, guys. If you're in the church, and there's over 3 billion people in the church, and He's only coming back for a remnant. That leads me to wonder, then if everybody's doing the same thing, that means that everybody should be fine. But that's not what's happening. Everybody's doing the same thing and thinking it's okay. Just like Saul of Tarsus, when he was out killing the Christians, the new converts. He was out killing them. He thought he was doing the will of God.
That's right.
But then guess what? He had his road to Damascus. I told you guys this before. Once you have your road to Damascus and the lights, the scales come off and the ears open, it's going to be a whole different. And look, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be hard. It's when you tell people that, hey, who are you calling on? You're using the wrong name. Man, you might as well just get ready because you're going to have a fight on your hands. I'm telling you. That's what he's talking about. I didn't understand that. And I thought it was going to be, because if everybody's thinking the same way, and then you got somebody coming in and telling you contrary to that, well, that's a small remnant that's telling you. Mm-hmm. I haven't had many people telling me, hey, you can't say that. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You got to do it this way. But I've had...
They'll tell you can't wear that.
Right.
That's right. That's the church. They'll tell you can't do this. Well, guess what? The church is wrong again. The church is wrong. Now tell me, what makes each one of y'all think that the church is wrong? Hey, tell me, y'all, start with you. What makes you think that the church ain't right?
Because
Son God Day.
That's
they're
one.
not preaching the correct. They're preaching the Trinity, and
right.
we know that He's one.
Mm-hmm. What about you, guys?
There's many things.
Many.
I think there's in every church you walk into, there's a heavy spirit of judgment lingering over you.
Self-righteousness.
That and
yes.
I've always felt
Religion.
that pastors were on a schedule every year. So when January comes around, we're going to preach in Mark for 2024, and then we're going to end in 1 Samuel or something, and it's always the same thing every year.
Repetition.
Yes.
What does he say about vain repetition? He says the vain repetition will get you nowhere.
And I have been into a church, Taylor and I into a big church, and I didn't necessarily feel the judgment. And one thing that the pastor we were listening to, obviously, it was on Sun God Day. It was wrong to begin with, but he was bold and said, nobody likes to preach on hell. No pastor likes to preach on hell, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And even though there are wrong things going on in the church, we got to continue to pray for the leaders of those organizations. And
I don't know about that.
Hey, look here. I'm going to show y'all
You ever
something.
been to a church and felt like you was at a shakedown? Where they pass